I said 16 Shodasha Samskaras. Vivaha is one of them. Igniting fire, chanting mantras and doing so many other things. Let a proper marriage be celebrated so that all people will know, here is a boy, here is a girl. They are getting related to in the form of couple. So they are getting married. Soon after the marriage, the girl is left completely under the care of the boy. They would not have known about him earlier. So much of trust, confidence, expectation, all these go there. Maybe two people are marrying, but there is a marriage-like alliance in the minds of so many people in the two houses. The father-in-law with the father-in-law, mother-in-law with the mother-in-law, brothers with the brothers, sisters with the sisters. Everywhere there is a mental alliance. So marriage is a very, very beautiful occasion in order to bring about and moderate this tendency, sexual tendencies and needs. Vyavastitihi teshu vivaha. So in order to provide for vivaya, conjugal dealings, marriage is the institution. Similarly, amisha madhya seva. There is a craving for meat. Now the meat eating, whenever you want to eat meats, don't suddenly get hold of it. Perform a yaga called Sautramani. In the Sautramani, flesh is required. And after the Sautramani is performed, you are supposed to take a small measure like that of a black gram. So much of flesh you take. And take a ball of butter, make a hole there, put it inside that, seal it and gulp it without putting it in the tongue even, so that you will not know the taste. So by performing Sautramani, a sacrifice, you are allowed to take meat. So whenever meat tendency comes, you have to perform a Sautramani. So the whole tendency is divinized and moderated by it. Suragraha is another kradu where liquor is used. And after using the liquor as part of the ceremony, you are supposed to take a little bit of it. Why? Vyavastidisteshu vivaha yajna suragrahaihi asu nivrittirishta. Don't miss the message. Asu nivrittihi ishta. The scriptural position is that all people should completely recoil and withdraw from these unnecessary and harmful tendencies. Liquor habit is no good. Meat eating is no good. And unbridled sexual indulgence also is not good. Now the Shastras are providing 3 different institutions, vyavasthas, by virtue of which these tendencies will be allowed to express themselves in a very regulated, systematic manner. But the purpose and the objective of the scriptures is to enable humanity to withdraw from it and seek delight in their own inner self, where alone it is available. Am I clear? Just see, when I read these, I felt so enlightening it was. What are people doing? They are killing animals, wanting to eat the flesh. So in order to eat flesh, they are performing and they gloat over it. But are the scriptures wanting you to murder? No. Their interest is nivrittirishta. Get away from these tendencies, maturate them, season them, tame them, and be free of it. Your life should be independent, sovereign. From you, no harm should ever come to anybody. Not to speak of killing an animal in the name of Vedas or Vedic ritual. No harm you should do. Later on you will find how Brahmins are supposed to live. They are supposed to live with Uncha-vritti and Shila-vritti. That austerity should be the shining factor. Our life is meant for discipline, moderation, regulation, reformation, refinement, more and more inwardness. Have joy, but have joy from your mind, from your heart. For that, purify your mind. Let the intelligence dazzle with its brilliance. The self should be shining there, as the sun reflects in a plain mirror. Our mind is clouded now. It is dark. It is impure. Our religion also is crowded. It's not clear. So the entire purpose of religion and philosophy is to bring about reformation, purification, sublimation in your personality. Now we are doing, with the help of these rituals, just the reverse. That is not the intention. How beautifully it is put. My dear householders, you will have to borrow ears and listen to these words. Loke vyavaya amishamadya seva nityastu jantoho nahi tatra chodana. Why Vedas have prescribed sacrifices? It's only because man has got the tendency. When you don't have a tendency, never go anywhere near the ritual. Who asked you to perform a sacrifice? If you have to propitiate the Lord, that propitiation comes from kayena vacha manasendriyarva buddhya atmana va prakrite swabhavat karodi yadyat sagalam parasmai narayanayeti samarpayet. By virtue of a wholesome offering of whatever you do to the Supreme Lord. So the scriptures are clearly intending that everyone should be able to withdraw gloriously from harmful tendencies like killing an animal, having fish, having meat, and then taking to liquor or even unbridled sexual indulgences. These are not the intention of the Shastras. Now, this much has been mentioned. A question arises. Everybody is interested in amassing wealth so that he can enjoy life. You know, in the country we are speaking about, India is going to become an economic power very shortly in the next 5 years, 10 years, etc. What is this economic power? Our economic growth rate, it is 7 to 8%. If we are able to strike even 8 to 9, it is considered to be the best and super best. In the whole world they are having much lesser. A poor country that India is said to be, if we are able to achieve a 7 to 8% growth, it is amazing. It is stupefying to the Western world how India is having it. Even in the face of the global meltdown, India seems to be still having its strides with no discomfort at all. So it's very amazing. The American president himself is saying that India is a great power, economic power. I have to understand it. I have to accept it. But I am asking you, is it economic power that matters? After all, what for is wealth? Why do you have money? Have you thought about it? Listen to Bhagavatam, listen to Chamasa, listen to this dialogue. Dhanam cha dharmaika phalam yato vai jnanam savijnanam anuprashanti griheshu yunjanti kalebarasya mrityum na pashyanti duranta viryam. Dhanam cha dharmaika phalam yato vai. The purpose of wealth is only to acquire dharma, righteousness. How many times shall I say this? Have you ever thought about it? What is the purpose of wealth? It is not that you just think about it. Let us go into our own forefathers. We have a great civilizational background. Our culture is incomparable. Incomparable. The definition of culture is art and other manifestations of the intellectual achievement of a community regarded collectively. So whenever we say we have a great culture, understand that that culture represents the intellectual achievement of our country, our forefathers, our ancestors, our racial extension. Because it is intellectual achievement, you cannot dispose it off as delusion or ignorance or superstition. Because the intelligence has given the stamp of approval. Whenever this culture was evolved, many people came to know of it. They tried to understand it. Getting it exposed either by speakers, exponents, or maybe in the form of writing. They thought about it. Very good, very great. They imbibed it. They pursued it. They perfected it, mastered it. Then they started becoming exponents themselves and bequeathed it to the others, partly through blood and partly through words. So this culture has got an inestimably ancient nature. Inestimably ancient. We call it ageless, prehistoric. Dhanam cha dharmaika phalam yato vai. Our wealth and resources have only one clear object. Dharmaika phalam. To acquire dharma. That is the possession that your mind can retain. All the other possessions are external and gross. Dharma is an internal enrichment which will remain constantly with you. Even when the body falls, dharma will not get separated from you. It will remain with you. So the purpose of dhana, wealth, is dharmaika phalam. Spend it for dharmic purposes. What are the dharmic purposes? That is how our temples, our ashrams and so many other things have come. See, in a country you must have park, you must have library, you must have swimming pool, you must have a golf club, a cricket club, so many things. In the same manner, from the viewpoint of culture, we must have temples, places of worship. If Hinduism or Hindu Dharma has sustained over millennia, in spite of foreign invasions, attacks, etc., it's only because of two centers and places in the country. What are they? One is the temples, the public place of worship, where thousands and lakhs of people come. No advertisement is generally made. People just come there. It is said that if there are 10 Hindu houses, there must be a temple for them in between. And the temple is a public place, House is a private place. In the house, the residents alone live. In the temple, all the residents equally go to. And why are they going there for? In the house, you are not able to get the peace and the freedom and the lightness that you want. When the children grow up, 1 year after the other, after the marriage pass, you will find tension, reservation, irksomeness, all these things grow. Only in the temple you can grow and express yourself freely, unload your heart, unload your mind. So the temple is absolutely necessary. All people will go. There is a statement that many times, many people go, black marketers also go there and they fill the coffers of the temple. I say, where else will they go? They are earning the money and it may not be always in a good way. So they have the tension and feeling of guilt. How will they dispose it of? Let us give a large packet to God so they get relief. Even people who are imprisoned, they are given good food, their weight is taken, they have to be nourished well. So these people also must have a place. So our temple welcomes all. It is for the pious and the noble. You can go and worship. Completely fall in love with the deity. Be fond of the deity. Go on remaining there, worshipping, doing circumambulation. Use it as a place for doing austerity. Such devotees go there. Others also go there. The devotees are altogether of 4 kinds. Artho, Jijnasurartharthi, Jnani cha Bharadarshapha. Artha, the afflicted. Jijnasu, the curious and the inquiring. Artharthi, one who wants the object of his life to be won over. Jnani, the one who knows the supreme truth. All the 4 go there. Mostly it is arthas. The other people are lesser and lesser. So one thing is very important. This temple fulfills a societal need. So you can spend money in renovating the temple, in constructing a temple, in having extensions in the temple, and perform some kind of a festival or otherwise. Every temple must have, first of all, daily pujas and worship should be there. And in addition to that, the chief priest will have to be brought. and special austere pujas also will have to be done. Then festivals should be there, where drishya and shravya festivities should be provided to the people. Not all will be able to come every day, but once in a year on the day of festivity, everybody would like to come. They will come forgetting everything, taking leave, putting on fresh clothes after bath. They will come in a presentable manner. They like it. It is a relaxation. It is a rejoicing. It is a freedom. It is a great luxury that they have, mental luxury. So a temple is a must. This is one place. But in the temple there is a mute deity. You cannot interact with him. You will go and look at him, feel happy, offer whatever you want, that's all. But suppose you have questions and cravings and troubles in your mind and heart, you will have to go to an ashram. There you interact with a speaking God, interacting God, an articulate God, the Mahatma, the wise man in the ashram. Maybe hundreds of people will go there, compared to thousands and lakhs in the temple. These are the two institutions which have preserved our culture, nothing else. Nothing else. Some of the temples in the south, they have been built spending great amounts of money. People generally say, our one full 5-year plan outlay will not be sufficient to build up a big temple like Srirangam, Madurai, Chidambaram, etc. With 1,000 pillars, 1,000 pillars, can you imagine? So it's a great culture. It's not something very small. And what was the motivation? Here is the motivation. Dhanam cha dharmaika phalam yato vai. The only object of wealth is to acquire dharma. When you spend it for dharmic, religious, spiritual and other purposes, the first priority should be to give to religious causes like temples. And still superior is trying to be helpful and participate in the activities, dissemination activities of an ashram. The first priority should be these two. Thereafter you spend it for feeding the poor people, helping the poor people, etc. Actually we need not list it in terms of priority. All of them are like the 5 fingers parallel. So helping the poor, having more and more trees, planting trees, feeding different creatures, going to the temple where their people come and have their shanti, have their peace. So make an abode for them to find their peace and quiet. That is also okay. And go to the ashram, take interest in what they do. In the ashram, ascetics live. They will not have any profession. They will not have any earning. Everything is abandoned and they become ascetics. So you go there and give them food. Give them some other things, whatever they need. They will have some magazine, some books, etc. for publication. Be a subscriber to it. And if there is a deficit, try to make it. If there are books, take up the responsibility of publishing them. Give the necessary cost. So many people will come, they have to be fed. So everything in this ashram should take place. And who? Only devotees and like-minded people will support the ashram. And that is also dhanam cha dharmaika phalam yato vai. So being of use either in the temple or in a spiritual center, an ashram, or trying to do something in the way of societal benefits, feeding the poor, encouraging some children to learn, setting up a college, or trying to subscribe to a cause. All these are dharmic. Jnanam savijnanam anuprashanti. What is the purpose of dharma? To acquire knowledge. What kind of knowledge? Our scriptural knowledge. What is mentioned in Ramayana? What is mentioned in Sreemad Bhaagavatam? What is there in the Vedic and the Upanishadic texts? What are there in the sutras? So trying to get an exposure to all these things. How will you get an exposure? By listening to discourses, by reading books. Audio, visual, these are the only 2 methods. Either you listen to an exponent or you read an exposition. So initially it is knowledge, and that knowledge should lead you to your own personal discipline and refinement, contemplation and meditation. First of all, Shravana, hearing. Secondly, rumination, manana. Thirdly, sitting in a place and meditating and then realizing it. Anuprashanti. The jnana and the vijnana should take you to realizing peace and quietude in your heart. My dear viewers, are you following what I say? Whatever money you have, it is primarily meant to be spent for dharma, acquiring dharma, righteousness. In that context, I mentioned all these. And you acquire dharma, what for? To get wisdom. And from the wisdom, you go to the knowledge of the self. And finally, actualize the self and then float in peace. This is the purpose of wealth. Such wealth, he says, griheshu yunjanti kalevarasya. If you spend all your wealth in your family, what is this family? The family is a relationship of your body. Whom do you call parents? Parents are those who have given birth to my body. So the relationship with the parents is through body. The relationship with the wife and the husband through body. Relationship with children through the body. So the entire house is of the body. Kalevarasya griheshu. Our house is meant only for the body to reside. The soul resides in the body. It doesn't require a residence from you. It is for the body that you are making a residence. So in the griheshu, in the houses of the body, yunjanti, all the money that you acquire, if you spend there, mrityum na pashyanti duranta viryam. We can only say that you are not seeing the clutches of death, impending death. However much you may look after and nurse your body, it is perishing, it is perishing. Every day is a death approaching day and a birth distancing day. Every day you are more distant from your birthday, and you are getting more proximate to the death day, and the body is going to die. So however much you may be given to bodily life and bodily comforts, mrityum na pashyanti duranta viryam. Mrityum na pashyanti duranta viryam. You are not seeing the powerful hands of death, the powerful hands of Yama. He is not going to relax his hand on you. So better be careful. The only way you can overcome death is to understand that you are immortal. Immortal. Krishna explained to Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna, you have no death. I was not born, you were not born. There was no time when we were not. There was no time when we were not. You think that I was born of Devaki's womb, and only after that Krishna came into existence. But I have to tell you, natve vaham jatunasam natvam neme janathipaha. There was no time when I was not, when you were not, when these people, Bhishma, Drona and the others were not. Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha. There is not going to be a time when we will not be. As we are now with the body, even without the body, we were, we shall be. By listening to this, Arjuna overcame the whole fear and apprehension about death. He was supposed to fight. 45 lakhs of warriors were there. All except 10 were killed. This is the situation. And then Arjuna was given the knowledge that there is no death, there is no birth. The death is only dehantara praptihi. So completely it was overcome. Why did I say this? Only by knowledge, spiritual wisdom, self-realization, the knowledge of the immortal self, you are going to have peace. Not by children, not by wealth, not by great and glorious and acclaimed activities for which you are given a reward. Even Bharata Ratna is given. No, not that. Dhanam cha dharmaika phalam yato vai jnanam savijnanam anuprashanti griheshu yunjanti kalevarasya mrityum na pashyanti duranta viryam.